you can bluff it, because they'll know.
Smell a tourist. They can smell a tourist. They'll never fit. That's funny. Oh, well, because there is so much history, and because, I mean, so many fascinating Daredevil stories have been told, do you find that that can be overwhelming? Or is there a couple that you've really gravitated toward, or do you just pretty much try to stick with the show and the greater vision there?
Yeah, you know, it became clear to me when I was reading the first few scripts that tonally they were very similar to a couple of runs that I had been guided towards. So although I like to read as much as I can, there are certainly writers, artists that captured, I think, the tone of Daredevil, the character of Daredevil, in a way that we like, and that then the writers of our show have responded to. So obviously the ones I reference regularly are the Bendis Malieve run is obviously something that I'll go back to over and over again. My direct boss, Jeff Loeb, did a wonderful run with Tim Sale called Daredevil Yellow, which I love. Joe Quesada did tons of stuff, and actually gave me an original piece of art of his, which was really, really nice, which hangs in my house. So there's been some wonderful ones. I'm up to date at the moment, so every now and again I pop into Midtown Comics and pick up the latest issue, which is fun.
What about you?
I always have to pay for it though. I really find that weird.
Oh, is that right? What about you? Have you looked to the comics quite a lot?
Yeah, a bit like Charlie. I didn't grow up reading the comics at all. You know, in France we have like Astérix, Obélix, and Tintin. So this is more the type of literature.
That's Tintin, by the way. She said Tintin.
Tintin. So this is more, you know, this is what I grew up with reading. And so when I was auditioning, even at the time where we tested, I think I was not aware that it was Elektra because they kept everything secret. When I got the job and I discovered who Elektra was, and I just discovered a whole new world, the comic world. So I went to a tiny, I was in LA at the time and went to a tiny comic book shop and then grabbed as many as I could with Elektra. And really, I got my first inspiration with Elektra Assassin. Yes. Beautiful art. And I got really a lot of inspiration from that because I could see that there was no boundaries to this character. She's just like this wild, slightly crazy woman, very, very powerful, but also that has a lot of torment, emotions, very complex character.
And her own code, a fascinating code that she has.
Yeah.
For each of you, what do you find that you're most protective of within your character? Like, what is it that you like about your character that you want to make sure comes across in your performance, or that resonates with you?
Well, to me, when we first had a conversation with the writers, they were like, Elektra is a sociopath. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to educate myself about what is a sociopath? And I kind of disagreed with them because, yes, she is manipulative. She has her own agenda. She would use people as she would use tools to get whatever she needs. But she also has a weak streak, and she has love for Matthew, which a sociopath wouldn't have, right? So I
think she's a psychopath.
No, psychopath, sociopath, I don't think she is completely. And this is because she's capable of love. And that's what we explored in season 2 of Daredevil. Matthew believes that she's able to love. So for me, that was the most interesting thing to explore. Despite her violence and sociopathic characteristics, she was able to love.
Yeah, and sense of consequence and her code. I think those things would set her apart from a sociopath, I think.
Yeah.
What about with Matt Murdock? What is it that you find yourself really kind of connecting with or kind of protecting in that character?
Yeah, it's a really great question, actually. You know, I think that from the very beginning, I think the thing for me that I was concerned about was just in general, there is, I think, a danger when playing a superhero that you can become a little, there's a chance that you can make that character too ultimately good and too earnest, which isn't always, I don't think is always that interesting to watch, particularly if you're on a show that could go for multiple years. You know, I've now filmed something like 30 plus hours of Daredevil. And so seeing someone who always does the right thing, always makes the right choice, always does the thing that benefits others above himself, I'm not sure that it's that interesting. And also I feel like we will cease to relate to him. Because as humans we make bad, you know, as real people we make decisions all the time that are based on, you know, selfish needs or, you know, and that's what makes us human. That's why we, the flaws in us is ultimately, I think, what we love about one another, underneath it all. And so I wanted to make sure that, although, yes, Matt that comes from a place of fundamentally trying to help people, to try to make a difference, to try to make a difference in his community, to his family, those kind of, family being Foggy and Karen. But also that we see his short temper come out. We see, it's the way I tell him. We see people, we see him kind of struggle to make the right decision, struggle to do what's best for others and for the community. And then the other thing about Matt is he can get a little serious. And yeah, he can be quite brooding, yeah, and he can get quite serious. And one of the things I'm always trying to encourage the writer to do is remember that in the comics he has a great sense of humor. He's a very dry, wry sense of humor, and I'm always looking, and we worked a lot on this, is to, one of the great things that I think happened when Elektra showed up is that she reminded Matthew of the fun that he's able to have in that role, as in, you know, being Daredevil.
Yeah, he was a little too much of a goody two shoes. Is it an expression in English?
Oh yes.
Yes. She had to like shake him a little bit.
Yeah, she definitely shook him. He was shook. There was a lot of shooking. We're going to take some questions from the audience in just a minute. There's a microphone over here, so I'm going to point to it now. So if there's anybody in the audience that had a question for Elodie or for Charlie, you can start lining up over there. You know, a character that has perceptions that are different than any other character in comics or that I know of in film and TV, that's an interesting place to start as an actor with a challenge. How do you play someone who doesn't have sight, but in addition to that has all these other capabilities? They're going to change the way they perceive their surroundings and the way they react to their surroundings. And I think you've done a really great job with that. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that process or that as a challenge or as an opportunity.
Yeah, that's been probably the most challenging aspect of the job. Mainly because as a sighted person, you know, you draw so much emotion out of other people by looking at them in the eyes and seeing the way they look at you. And of course, Matt, it makes it very difficult both for me as the actor, but also for the actors that I'm working with.
Never. I have to stop you here. Never, because no, but it's true. It's like Charlie was not pretending. Charlie was blind, and then you don't feel like you have someone in front of you that is plain blind. It is really part of the...
I'm laughing because when Elodie came to do the screen test...
Oh yeah, no, let me tell this story. Okay. I went to do the screen test and tested with Charlie. At the end, so I didn't know, you know, I didn't know what I was testing for or anything. At the end of it, I called my boyfriend. I'm like, I think the guy I'm playing with is really blind.
She did it. He told me. Johnny told me. She actually said there's something weird with his eyes.
She's like, I think he's might be blind. And so it's really to Charlie's credit, because I would never feel in any scene, and you know, we had some hot scene, a very emotional scene when, you know, you have to rely on each other as actors, you have to really be generous and share, you share something. But the fact that we could not look at each other in our eyes, is that it? Yeah. It's fine, was not a problem at all, because it's so good.
That's very nice.
But there's all sorts of problems. Just in terms of picking something up, when as Daredevil, in the presence of someone who knows who he is, or if he's by himself, he would never use his eyes or head, therefore, to pick anything up. So if you're in a scene where I pick up a glass of water, I have to just be able to kind of pick it up and not miss. And often that takes a number of goes.
Get wet shoes a lot of wet shoes.
I literally smashed a mug 2 days ago, trying to pick it up.
And what about the other perceptions? Because he has all these other abilities, what have you found that you like when you see your performance, or when you review it, or consider all the other hypersensitivity things, like how he perceives things? Was that a struggle?
The only thing is, I don't love telegraphing, and so, you can't translate smell, for example, into.
That's a good try, but
Yeah.
It looks like I have a cold.
Yeah. So if Matt Murdock smells something, and that is what is, directing him in a certain area, or is helping him figure out who is who, or whatever it is, you kind of have to do something. But I just try and do it in a subtle way. That's what we use, a particular lens that is the way that we show that Matt is using his senses. And that helps a great deal. It's a really good way of doing it, rather than, as you say, literally have him kind of, because it's too obvious, isn't it? And it wouldn't be that way. The truth is, when in real life, when I smell something that I don't go like that, I just smell it.
That's probably best. That's good. Okay, I think I see some folks with questions.